Hello, SCA seniors and parents. I am coming to you today to talk to you about financial aid for the class of 2020. This is a financial aid 101 overview. It will give you some details about what college financial aid looks like. So we will specifically talk about college costs, what financial aid is, the different types of financial aid, who may be eligible for each aid, and how students apply and when they apply. So we'll hit all of these major big topics as we go through the course of this presentation. I hope to keep this brief for you, but give you all the important information that you would need in order to begin the financial aid process for college. College costs, there are lots of acronyms when it comes to college and financial aid. The term COA stands for cost of attendance, and this is going to vary from institution to institution and in-state and out-of-state and living on campus and off campus, but every college should provide you with a COA on their website. This is required by law. And we know that your cost of attendance is impacted by your direct costs, such as tuition, but also indirect costs, such as books, other fees, maybe the cost of commuting, a car, gas, those types of things. So every college will provide a net price calculator on their website. This is a requirement for every institution that receives federal and state funding. So there are different types of financial aid. The first one that we commonly think of is called scholarships. Scholarships are free money that just does not need to be repaid. Some scholarships require some type of skill or achievement that is associated, and most scholarships you must apply for. We have scholarships such as Bright Futures. Bright Futures is a scholarship program in the state of Florida that is funded by the Florida Lottery, and it does have requirements such as ACT, SAT scores, GPA, and community service requirements. We also have something called grants. Grants are free money, usually associated with some type of financial need. This money does not need to be paid back, and it is by your status, such as financial need or your residency situation. But if you meet it, you do end up getting the money for a grant if you meet the requirements. Then you have loans. Loans are money that must be paid back. These typically come through the federal government, the state government, or private institutions such as banks. Then you have employment, such as federal work study programs. This is the opportunity to earn money for college expenses. Then we have things called institutional aid. Institutional aid is money given by the institution, but may require a separate application. Institutional aid will be for that specific college and university only. It cannot transfer to other colleges or universities, and it does require some type of skill, achievement, and application. And then we also have things called waivers. And the state and state universities and community colleges, there are waivers where they will waive the cost of certain things, such as tuition waivers would waive the cost of tuition. There is no money exchange, they just waive that cost. So sometimes state employees, college employees will have tuition waivers if they have family members that work for colleges or universities. Students that were in foster care or were adopted, they have tuition waivers as well. So that's waived. There's no actual money that's being transferred. They are just waiving the fee associated with the college cost. So speaking specifically about scholarships, scholarships should be free. They should not be fee-based. So if you are being required to pay a certain fee in order to even apply for a scholarship, I would be very, very careful about those and do your research on those. There are some great scholarship websites. The College Board has their Big Future website and also fastweb.com. These are like your Google of scholarship searches. I would recommend you get on these about once a month and do a new search to see if any new scholarships have come available for you. But those are great. Again, you should not have to pay a fee to search for scholarships or to apply for scholarships. Specifically about Bright Futures, the Bright Futures Scholarship, as if you've been at SCA for any amount of time or in any of the guidance meetings, you've heard about this quite often. There's two levels of the scholarship, the Florida Academic Scholar and the Florida Medallion Scholar. And so there is initial eligibility in the year 2020. If they graduate, their initial year of eligibility will be the fall of their freshman year, which is 2020 to 2021. And you can see the ACT and SAT score requirements. They must have one of these two scores in order to get one of the scholarships. You cannot get both, you either get one or the other. And then each scholarship has its own requirement of community service. FAS has a 100 hours of community service requirement, while FMS has 75 hours of community service. How Bright Futures is paid, it's paid out by the credit hour. Florida Academic Scholars pays $212 per credit hour on average. It pays 100% tuition plus $300 towards books for each year. Florida Medallion Scholars pays an average of $159 per credit hour each semester, and then that is typically begins to be awarded in August of 2020. I always remind my parents and students that you will be able to start applying for Bright Futures in October, but they do not send official award letters until August. So after you graduate, do not panic if you do not hear anything from Bright Futures right away. They do not send their award letters out until August, but you can always log into your Bright Futures account and see your status of your scholarship. Now, grants. Grants are free money that usually have some type of financial need attached to it. The Pell Grant is a federal grant that does not need to be repaid. Pell Grants are awarded usually to undergraduate students only who have not earned a bachelor's or other type of professional degree. The maximum yearly amount is based on the student's EFC. This is your estimated family contribution, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The maximum amount of a Pell Grant a student can receive is 600% or 6 years as a full-time undergraduate student. So you can max out your Pell Grant. You can't continue to get it for 10 and 20 years. It's typically 6 years, a full amount that you can get, and then you are maxed out with a Pell Grant. There are other federal grants. We have the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunities Grant, and you can see the acronym, the FSEOG. This grant is awarded to students in need of financial aid. It is a type of federal grant that does not need to be repaid as well. Then you have the FSAG, which is your Florida Student Assistance Grant. This is a state grant for Florida students. This is a financial aid program funded by Florida, available to students who meet the financial aid criteria and any other criteria that would be attached to it. So that's an additional grant that would not have to be repaid, but is based upon financial need. Then we have a few others that are not based on financial need necessarily. You have the Florida EASE grant, also used to be known as the FRAG, the Florida Resident Access Grant. This provides tuition assistance to Florida's undergraduate students attending an eligible private nonprofit. So this is only for students who attend private universities in the state of Florida. There is no financial need required. You just have to be a Florida resident. That's the only requirement. It's typically around $3,500 to $4,000 a year. It changes from year to year, but that is only at a private university or college. So not a public university such as USF or the University of Florida. Then we also have the Florida Access to Better Learning and Education Grant. This is also known as the ABLE grant. This provides tuition assistance to Florida undergraduate students enrolled in degree programs at eligible private universities and colleges. Okay, so those are two different grants based upon the students' enrollment in colleges, private colleges in the state of Florida. We also have loans. Loans are money that must be paid back. We have a lot of federal loans that are out there, the Federal Direct Student Loan and the Parent Plus program. These programs have income limits, so it's also depending upon your year of college and your dependency status as well. So then you also have Stafford Loans. These come from the government in the form of financial aid, and they help a undergraduate or graduate student pay for their education. There are two types of these Stafford loans. You have the subsidized loan. This is when the government pays the interest for the student while they're in college, and then they would only start accruing interest to have to pay for that interest after they graduate. Then you have the unsubsidized loan. Interest accrues upon disbursement, yet payment may be deferred during long periods of at least half-time enrollment. So what that means is that you accrue interest, but you don't have to start paying back the loan until after you graduate from school, but you're still accruing interest at that time and will be responsible for it. We have other loans. The Parent Plus loan is for parents of a dependent students for graduate professional studies. So the parent would take this loan out for the student while they're in college. Plus loans help pay for education expenses up to the cost of attendance minus all other financial assistance. Interest is charged during all periods for a Parent Plus loan. You also have private loans as well. These are loans that are offered through private institutions such as like banks and credit unions. Then we have employment. We always encourage students to get a job or some type of employment while they're in college to help pay for college expenses. There is the Federal Work Study Program, FWS. This provides jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need to earn money to help pay for educational expenses. So the federal government actually helps fund jobs on campus in college to help students with financial need pay for school so they can actually work to earn money to pay for their college. And then in forms of waivers and reimbursements, different institutions offer students the opportunity to have their tuition waived. Some employers offer their employees and spouses and dependents reimbursement of funds spent to attend an institution of higher learning. And then some states will have waivers based upon needs. Like I mentioned before, students in foster care or that were adopted may be eligible for state tuition waivers. So who is eligible to receive federal aid? So if you wish to receive federal aid from the United States government, you must meet certain requirements. You must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen. You need to have a valid Social Security number. Males must be registered with the Selective Service. They must have a diploma, high school diploma, or a GED, be enrolled or interested in enrollment as a regular student working towards a degree or certificate program and an eligible program at a school that participates in federal student aid programs. So only eligible colleges and universities, which any state university or accredited private university would meet that requirement. Not have any drug convictions on their record for an offense that occurred while you're receiving federal aid, such as grants, loans, or work study. So how does a student apply for federal aid? Well, the main route that people will use to apply for federal aid is the FAFSA, the FAFSA. This stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. This is a standard form that collects all your demographic and financial information about the student and your family. So the FAFSA, this is filed electronically. It's available in English and Spanish. A couple things to note, the FAFSA has to be filled out annually by the current and participating college students, both undergraduate and graduate in the United States. So you have to renew this every year. The family's financial information is required to calculate the student's EFC, expected family contribution or estimated family contribution. So what you will do is you will fill out this complete application. You will receive an EFC and your student aid report. That's your SAR. That's like your final result to the application. So you will fill this electronic version out. You will find it at fafsa.ed.gov. You must use this website, the FAFSA .ed.gov website is where you must go. Avoid using any other website or consultants or planners that would charge money. If you get to a website and it's asking you to put in your credit card to complete your FAFSA, you know you are at the wrong place. Make sure you use the FAFSA.ed.gov website and file early. It does take quite a while to complete the application, so you don't want to be rushed. So what is the expected family contribution, the EFC? This is the amount a family can reasonably be expected to contribute. The EFC stays the same regardless of the college you attend, so it doesn't matter where you're going to school, your EFC is going to stay the same. There are two components of how the government estimates your EFC. That is your parent contribution and the student contribution. This is calculated using the FAFSA data that you're going to enter into the application. There's a federal formula that the government uses in order to calculate your EFC. So before beginning your FAFSA, there's a few things you'll need to do. You need to make sure you have all of these documents with you. Your Social Security number, this is the student Social Security number and their driver's license number, any W-2s, And then you will also need to have your parent social security number, parent driver's license number, and also any parent W-2s, the student's most recent federal income tax return, if they have a federal income tax return. If they don't, you don't have to worry about that. Your parent's most recent federal income tax return, and then most recent untaxed income records, such as your veterans, non-education benefit records, child support, worker compensation, those types of things. If you are a non-US citizen, your alien registration card or your permanent resident card will be important to have. You will be asked to have a personal identification number, a PIN number. Students and parents need to obtain an FSA ID either while they're completing the FAFSA on the web application, or they can go to the Federal Student Aid website. You can see this website right here is where you would go to obtain your PIN. Your FAFSA will direct you there. This is what you use to electronically sign all of your federal student aid documents and access your records. It makes everything legal, so you will need a federal PIN number. I always recommend to parents and students to create a password list. You're going to have a lot of different passwords. So create a password list, a standard password list where you're putting all of your passwords for all of your scholarships, your grant applications, college applications, all of those things. Keep one standard password list because you're going to need it. You will get super confused if you don't keep your password list. So who completes the form? The federal government believes that it's the parent and student responsibility to pay for college. Therefore, parent and student information is required, okay? So up until the time a student's about 23 to 25, they are still considered a dependent when it's talking about federal funding for college. For divorce or separation situations, the parent with whom the student resides completes the form, or who the student is claimed on their taxes. For joint custody situation, the parent who provides the most support typically completes the form. Is the student a dependent or an independent? If they were born before January 1st, 1995, or if they're married, if at the beginning of the 2018-19 school year, you'll be working on a master or a doctoral program, or if you're currently serving active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces, or if you're a veteran. Those are the only ways that they will determine if you're a dependent or independent. If you can answer yes to any of these 5 questions, then you can be considered an independent. But if your answer is no to all of these questions, your student is a dependent. The FAFSA for 2020 to 2021 uses the 2018 tax information. So everybody should have their 2018 tax information available by now, but this is what you will use to complete the FAFSA. The application, again, is available at FAFSA.ed.gov, and that will cover semesters fall 20, spring 20, and summer 21. The FAFSA does take a while to fill out, and you may have some questions. This is a great website. There is a step-by-step video of how to fill out the FAFSA available on YouTube. I will link this in the email that I'm going to send to you. It's also linked on the senior guidance section of the SCA website. If you watch this will tell you exactly how to answer each question in the FAFSA. It's a great resource to have. Florida State Aid. The Florida Financial Aid Application, the FFAA, is the application that you will use for Florida Bright Futures and other Florida merit or need-based aid. The FFAA may be be completed in conjunction with the FAFSA in order to determine eligibility. The website where you will go to complete your FFAA is right here, floridastudentfinancialaid.org. Okay, so that a full list of all your Florida student aid programs will be listed there. So you need to complete your FAFSA and your FFAA. You need to do both of these. So we want to talk about secondary financial aid, university and college aid. Some colleges and institutions have need-based and merit-based applications for you to complete. A specific scholarship application for specific programs. There may be separate applications. There may not just be one application. So just know that you'll want to double check with the college in scholarships to make sure that you're completing all of the applications necessary. Colleges will distribute their own forms. They will be available on their college website. They typically open up between January and March of senior year. So they're not open quite yet here in October, but they will start opening up after the new year. And you'll you'll want to contact your college or university for those specific deadlines and applications. So a couple of important dates to be aware of. Number one, your FAFSA opens up October 1st, 2019. The FFAA, the Bright Futures application, opens up on October 1st, 2019. These two applications, you want to make sure to get them done right away. And then college and university financial aid will open up somewhere between January and March of 2020. You will want to contact the financial aid offices at your specific universities for their specific deadlines. So I know this was a lot of information for you. This is why we did it, but in video form, so you can go back, listen to it, take notes, review information if you need to. But I'm always here to help. Again, I'm not a financial aid counselor. I am your guidance counselor, so this is just an overview of the information. Your colleges and the financial aid offices that you're working with, if you have any unique or special situations that you're not really sure how to handle things, you'll want to contact those financial aid offices at the colleges directly, as I cannot provide specific financial aid advice in those situations. I'm here to give you good information as you get started, but I can't give you specific information as opposed to your unique situations. The college financial aid officers will be happy to help you with that. So I wish you good luck in your journey in completing financial aid, and I'm here to help in any other ways possible. Have a great day.